Okay. All right, everybody, welcome to a meeting of the Architectural Review Board. Today is of Darien's Architectural Review Board. Today is Tuesday, November 15th, 2022. I'm going to take a roll call for our members that are here tonight. We have staff member Hervé Hammond, and we have Rebecca Morrison, Sean Brown taking notes, myself, Elizabeth Geiger, as chairman. This is Alex Lopatensky, Cheryl Green, David Riley, and Anya Janis. All right, so first on the agenda tonight, we have, for old business, we have AirB 31, Seymour's Restaurant. This has got to be about the fourth meeting we've seen these guys in a row. So welcome back. Introduce yourself for the record, and tell us who your favorite board member is now at this point in time.
That's a setup. That's a setup. Total setup. Craig Eischen, Oculus Hospitality Partners, as the owner's rep for Seymour's.
Great.
I think they know how to spell it. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So last we left this, Craig, we've gone through rounds and rounds of detail, and now we should be seeing the final schematic, the final drawings, right?
Sure. Yeah, and I don't know if you want to start with the renderings or this is all the submittal package stuff.
Let's start with the renderings to refresh everybody and lay the groundwork here for everyone one more time. And these are your new, fresh renderings, or are these the same ones we saw last month?
No, these are new.
Okay.
New and improved.
Great.
So, the couple of things that I remember from the last time was the ivy coming up here that we wanted to have, that was the request to have it shown coming up the back side of the banquette, so we didn't see that. The base detail here, and I think we wanted, it was requested that a taller base instead of just a shorter base. It was like an 8-inch piece instead of a 4-inch piece. Other than that, I don't know that there were any major changes from the prior meeting.
Right, the column caps were dripped.
Yep, the overhang here.
No wood on any of the railings.
Right. The chairs are not red.
I think the ivy was to cover the wood.
The one person was concerned about the back side of the banquettes and having this grow up.
Mm-hmm.
There's a comment on the counters, but I think that was resolved at the time.
Yeah, refresh that comment, Mr. Henry.
It was just a question on the color of the concrete natural sealer, but that was being integrated into the interior as well. So I think that was okay.
Right.
Liz, may I make a comment?
You need to come on.
This. I will, yeah. Because I just want to get this off of Craig's list.
Hop up here on TV and introduce yourself.
Julie Brock from DMA. And the ID is going to be Federal Realty's bag. So they are very fully aware. And I will make sure that gets done. That's not on your behalf. Okay, so
Yeah,
locked and loaded with that. Okay?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a proprietary and
Yeah. Exactly.
I can't say that in English correctly.
I think the color schematic in general was soft. I think there have been a lot going on. I think the umbrellas we changed to black because it seemed like they were competing.
They were striped, and they did have the drop, the valance, around the perimeter. We got rid of those, so that's black now, wholly black. Yeah, and we've got it is a little bit less busy, and I think there was some concerns about the colors of the chairs, but we really wanted to keep the color of the chair, and I think it's subtle enough with everything that's going on.
Yep. And that signage, for the record, says the signage is pending.
Yes.
You guys are coming back a later time with.
Yes, we'll probably be here next month with a signage.
Great.
That would be 5 in a row.
Gotta get it done.
I know.
I think in general, just for the sake of talking about signage, I think there hasn't been any discussion per se about signage, but I don't know that anybody's objected to what's been shown here. So it was these two signs here, and then it was the blade sign over here on that side.
The only concern I would have if, as you develop a signage plan, is I would check the sizing. I think it looks huge, I think that's scale.
Okay,
It looks somewhat appropriate, but that might be like 3 times the size of the
blade
other
sign.
sign. The wall sign, blade sign as well.
We have a limit, a
Yeah,
criteria.
Okay.
yeah, we're gonna, and then no channel lit letters,
right, halo lit,
halo lit, no lit blade sign.
right.
What else?
So
Any other-
interestingly enough, this is a pedestrian district, so the letters are limited to 20 inches in height.
Okay,
So
They're
that,
limited, that's pretty
and
cool.
these are definitely way more than that.
Yeah.
But the ARB has some latitude in terms of declaring appropriateness.
I thought these were, I assume this is all the scale, these were like 1'6". if I remember
18
right.
inches.
That would be 18 inch.
Yeah,
So that band is 3
That
feet?
looks,
I thought the band was bigger, that,
Well, it's so,
Oh,
yes,
it is
and you
big.
can see that scale.
I'll check it, but just for reference here,
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying.
okay,
They are drawn, on the facade, on A2, they're called out as 1'6". So
Okay.
they need to render into perspective, kind of
Right.
emphasize it.
Mhm.
okay.
I have a quick question just on logistics. I drive by this a lot and it's, all the construction going on, it's hard to see. How will the stairway, which is looking, I think, very nice, how will that be accessed from the road or
Let
from
me see if I have
parking? I can
another,
see it coming in from the parking, but how will people access that actually from Heights Road?
I
or
think
will
this is,
they?
this might be the best picture of it.
There's a, yeah,
The
there's,
partial
Site
site plan.
plan.
Yeah, the lower left-hand corner.
Yeah.
oh, I
So
see
the-
that,
the
okay.
There's a
sidewalk
sidewalk
engages
that
into
keeps-
it.
Okay, all right, good. That I haven't seen. Thank you.
Mhm. I have kind of
Yeah,
a
now I can.
a non-aesthetic, just observation. And it's just kind of purely observational, and check on it if you'd like. But looking at the wall sections, I'm a little concerned about the overall assembly in terms of thermal, like the control layers, the thermal control layers, the vapor control layers. Seems like with the 6 mil vapor barrier on the interior and some of the materials on the exterior, there might be some vapor drive issues. So
Okay.
just, I would encourage a review with, like, from a building science standpoint.
Sure.
I don't know if I'm correct in my concern, but I would
got you.
hate for you to have like.
Yeah,
walls
no,
or
we'll,
something.
we'll kick the tires on that with the
Okay,
architect
all right,
and
no
engineer.
problem.
So let's go in to make sure we're okay with the drawings, like the details of your architectural plans.
Mm-hmm,
Looks like those have been updated. I mean, like, one of the biggest things that caught my eye is, WF1, page 2. You updated that to be AZAC sheets, right? And in addition, you put in the actual colors that you went on, Sherwin-Williams, pure white. Those details have all been added in there. I don't know if you guys have looked through those details.
Yep.
But, you did, Riley?
Yeah,
Mr.
and no
Woodward?
exception.
Okay, okay.
So no ethos, right?
It is not easy.
Yeah, there's just a difference that
It's
calls it out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's good to know. Nope, okay. Okay.
What's the maximum size of the AZAC panels in height? If this is one panel, do they come in that height?
yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to, I'll have to dig into that and understand. I mean, obviously, we don't want any exposed joints, that we want covered.
Because 2 foot wide is fine, but that looks like a good 10 foot or so
Okay.
height, so you may, they may be able to custom make them, but
Right,
usually it's, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a lot of panels that come in 8 foot standard.
Yeah, but more and more
So
you're
you
seeing
have a
panels
dual
that
line.
can come in 10 and even 12 foot.
Huh?
More and more you'll see panels,
Right.
especially with these types of materials that can be up to 10 or 12
Good,
even.
that'd be great.
Yeah, I don't know with AZAC if that's the case, but I wouldn't be
I
surprised.
would be surprised.
Okay,
Yeah.
But standard is 8 feet.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And the trim cornice is AZAC as well?
yeah.
It is?
Everything, yeah.
I didn't know if that was.
All the trim in the panels, like all the exterior wood.
It is, okay, I didn't know if that was Federal's, something different Federal was treating with.
Oh, this up here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, the development is putting that in.
Okay.
That's part of the standard, whatever they have going around.
Is that, Mrs. Brock, will that be, do you know if that's AZAC as well?
What the material is for this band here? I think it is all that.
Top end.
I think it is as well. It's the same, I can confirm that, Liz, but it's the same as R1, but I'm not sure what the actual material is.
All right.
I can let you know about
All
that.
right. Any other comments, questions, guys?
That's nice. That's nice. It's much softer.
Okay.
Is the lighting, the little pear-shaped light bulbs, whatever, is that part of Federal Realty overall, or is it part of Seymour's? Do
The gumdrops?
The themes of, the
sconces?
theme of the light, no,
The
Oh,
the,
the
yeah.
Tivoli
The
lights,
string lights?
the
yeah, the
string
string of
lights.
lights, yeah.
That
That's a
is, there is,
typical
I
zoning
believe there is
question.
there are string lights that are going as part of the development between these two buildings. And then it was just going to be an extension of that.
You have that on your other rendering, that's,
Yeah,
that's pretty.
for this.
pretty well shown, yeah.
I think Julie
So-
bought that box
Yeah,
of strings.
that's right, yeah.
A while
Yeah.
back,
So that was
so
maybe
this
before
seemed
my time.
consistent with.
It was
It was meant to match
Yeah.
whatever they're doing, we're just continuing.
Okay.
So is that operated with the same time frame and turns off after midnight, or, because they're, you know, with the residents above, is that something that we have in the?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't remember how we
I mean, it's
treated.
pretty to have, but then, you know, if you live right above it, if it's late, do they turn off on time limit? But
That's also gonna, I don't know. If they
So my
do-
question is, it's Seymour operated, or is this Federal Plaza operated?
The individual tenants will be tenant operated. And we can
Okay.
require that they turn off just like lights do at 10 or 11. We have that in our criteria.
Okay. So as long
Yeah.
as that's clear that there's gonna be management of that.
The light spec is the same throughout. We gave
Okay.
everybody the same spec, same
Good.
Kelvin, same everything, same globe. So they're all following that, but putting them on a timer or turning off at a certain time, we can regulate that.
Okay.
Yeah, we can plug into whatever.
And they have those little covering things so that they don't shoot the light up, right? I mean, I haven't seen light coverage.
On the
On the
straight
light
lane?
itself, it's not like you're staring
was a-
down your
that
window.
was a spec.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if they
Yeah,
have.
we did,
They didn't have covers though, they were little clear walls.
I think they were hanging upside down. kind of.
yeah,
No, they're not
yeah, I think part,
huge light emitters.
Right.
They're not, so.
Okay.
Oh, I actually have another lighting question. Where the artwork is, there's going to be a grazer light washing down on that, is that correct?
That is the plan, correct.
Okay. I didn't see that in the wall section 3, on A3. So,
Yeah, it's
um,
concealed LED downlighting.
Okay.
And I think this needs to be probably a little bit more developed, and I would imagine that it'd be part of,
okay.
you know, as
So
part
nothing
of, as part of the
applied,
work
but
that
it'll
we're
all be-
doing, we'll set it back. Ultimately, if it's, you know, LED across the top or the
Mhm.
bottom, or, you know, I know there's
Combination.
light restrictions and things like that, but I think that's all gonna be part of that discussion about the sculpture and what
Okay.
that ultimately looks like.
Okay.
that's a good question, I'm glad you asked that. We are thinking about that.
Yeah. Well, it's being built in, so that's going to happen before the sculpture is really, I
Right.
guess, reviewed.
Yep,
Okay.
so we're setting it up, and
Sure. I'll make a note of that, though.
What's the composition of the sculpture and who's doing it?
the development. That's that's part of a special commissioning of some kind of artwork to go there,
So it's
There-
not necessarily this one?
not
Oh,
necessarily.
okay.
They are coming back, yeah, that's a good question, too. I should have set that up. The signage and the sculpture feature wall are coming back at a later point in time, and Federal Realty has reached out to a few different metal sculptors on the
Okay.
East Coast for different proposals, so we will
And
see
the
that.
So it's
two
not
not necessarily together.
Right,
Yeah.
Okay.
right, absolutely.
So this could change completely?
Yeah.
The fish,
It's not a package.
yes, but.
It won't be,
yes,
it won't be all the
it won't-
little fishies.
Yeah, it won't look like little school fish.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe,
Well,
okay.
Large sharks or something.
But Greg, I mean, that is a really good point, Mr. Wright, you know, that you guys have to consider that lighting, that
Oh, yeah.
downward, even though
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
building that into, now some sort of, and we talked about what that would look like up or
Yeah,
down,
this-
as long as you
this-
have the room for
Yeah,
it.
this was going to be set back
Okay,
further to facilitate some type of a lighting code.
okay, whatever that like,
Right.
that thing, okay. Great,
Okay,
Nice.
it's been fun.
happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
So I'll write you a formal letter
Okay,
of approval from us.
okay.
You should probably frame it, I feel like.
Maybe,
At this point.
I'll bring it back. When we sign it, just say, remember?
Remember. So I'll get that to you, but we
Okay,
appreciate it. Any questions, you can email Hervé and myself.
Okay. Great,
And we'll then maybe see you next month
thanks, everyone.
for the signage. All right, next up, under old business, we've got ARB number 42, which is Gregory's Coffee. That's at 102 Heights Road we're looking at. Hi. As they come up here, I'm gonna give you guys, as they're setting up, I'm gonna read to what we left, the letter we left John. I said, just to bring you guys up to speed. John, many comments regarding Gregory's Coffee at 102 Heights Road. I'm gonna list them out here from our October 18th meeting. ARB only supports 2 signs on the premise, 1 wall, 1 blade. Recommend 1 wall sign on the front and 1 blade sign off the back. The wall sign, we show a couple versions that include the sign shrunk down to the maximum of 20 inches for the logo and copy combined. Also include 2 layouts to place the sign on a black band that fits the width of the building and one that fits the width of the window set. We also said you're welcome to include your original proposed design. We also like to see a version of the wall sign possibly without the logo. Blade sign, consider creating a sign cut out the shape of the logo with no copy. Also confirm the color of the sign band with new sizes of the band. So that was our feedback. Welcome, introduce yourselves for the record and have fun.
Greg Zamfotis, founder and CEO of Gregory's Coffee.
You look familiar, Greg.
Hopefully the size of my logo will be nice enough that people can see it all over the project.
Hi, John Massari, Accent Signs and Awnings.
Greg, can you spell your last name again for us?
Sure. Z-A-M-F-O-T-I-S.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the original drawing. And we did bring this back because Gregory really would like to present this again, even though you had some objections to it. As far as the blade sign, and I'll let Gregory speak after I go through a couple drawings, he really felt that just doing the logo on the blade sign didn't help his brand at all.
Okay.
This is a shrunk down version. We kept the logo at 24 inches, and the problem is I can't really make the logo smaller without making the letters smaller the way his branding works. And if I make that coffee any smaller, I can't make it a reverse channel letter. I can't get the LED in. Because the stroke is less than an inch now, and with the walls of the letter, I won't be able to fit the LED in. So I'm hoping you will approve that or give us an exception. I also made drawings for both versions with a smaller background that equals the windows as requested. Oh, by the way, since we have 1 blade sign, we'll be in the middle of the building now.
Sitting on the entrance where the cars are driving up.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I see in all your drawings, you've got signage, a wall sign, the front and back. Is that what you're proposing, or you're just showing that?
No, that's what we're proposing. That's what we had last time. I thought that was agreeable.
And in my letter, it was one of the first things I said, you guys gotta get down to 1 wall sign and 1 blade sign.
There's a reason why, because I mean, we have 4 basically sides to the building, almost like 3 frontages almost, where it's like a 360-degree building, so anybody sort of in the back, when they pull in, then we'd have almost no visibility on that side, almost like the Seymour's has the 2 signs in the blade because they're on a corner. We actually have 4 frontages, not 2, so it just makes it a little bit more challenging to just have the 1 and the 1, given the amount of frontage that we have available on our building.
So maybe that helps to talk about the regulation. in the way Darien regulations are written is you are allowed one primary wall sign up to 32 square feet. You're allowed one secondary wall sign that would be 7 square feet. And that's one attached secondary wall sign in addition to primary per ARB determination, or a blade sign. So there's a choice, that's why I think that's why Ms. Geiger is referring to 2 signs. You have to kind of orient yourself and say you get one wall and one blade. That's just the standard throughout there now. That's what we're seeing. So you get
Because we saw something for, if you're considered like a corner, or, am I wrong there, Julie?
there's
There
street
was-
frontage and percentage of linear for in relationship to primary street. But that, if you don't use your 32 square feet, ARB has a lot of latitude in their decision-making in terms of what they want to see in terms of number of signage. So I'm just telling you what the.
Greg, I know what you're talking about, that like our corner tents, we allow like a wall
Yeah.
sign on both sides and a blade sign.
Yeah.
I mean, it's up for discussion, we make exceptions, we'll see, I mean, this is a small building, it's a lot of signage on a small building, so this is what the discussion's about.
Okay.
And we're up for that.
Yeah, I mean, that would be my pleading to give us sort of that frontage on both sides, so that way, obviously, folks entering can see us, and then anybody that comes into the back alongside that whole corridor would have any kind of visibility as to what that building in the front is.
Back is not a Mass Street.
Yeah, but you're gonna have people walking from back there, right? You're gonna have
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah,
So it's
pedestrians kind of
Mostly
not coming,
like that.
right, not coming
So
from,
public right away.
yeah, so, I mean, I think if personally, a smaller sign on both sides would, to me, just visually is more appealing. It's not the giant black slash front and back. I don't have any objection to having it.
Just the width of the windows, right?
Yeah, the width of the window.
Yeah, limited.
I actually-
Yeah,
agree.
right.
I prefer that myself. I think
Okay.
when we had come like a while ago, that was one of the suggestions, like a few months back, so I'm more than, if that like reduces whatever the overall technical square footage, if that helps at all, I'm definitely, don't need that big band.
I do think there's an argument for having that blank.
On the back
side.
wall?
Yeah, I do, otherwise. you
'Cause
know,
it's
if
just
you
the back of
come
the
in that
building.
way, or
Yeah,
you're,
100%,
yeah, you've gotta have something back there.
And,
I
just
just
looking
have
at the
this-
site plan, I
Yeah.
think the site plan would have been very useful.
Yeah.
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 But, yeah.
Right there, yeah.
But that makes me question, do you need a blade sign? If everyone's driving in there, there's no one walking on that side. So if you're gonna put a sign, the front wall and the back wall.
It's a valid point.
I love blade signs, I think they're very cool, but you're putting it on a side where there's no pedestrians even walking.
Right.
And you've got a full sign in the front now.
When you're driving in,
Full
you'll
sign
see
in
that
blade
front
side
sign as
towards
you're driving in.
Right.
So
Right.
that-
The
yeah,
blade
it's a
sign
blade
is
sign,
towards
that's
Seymour.
necessary.
Yeah, the blade sign is towards Seymour, so it's in the pedestrian zone.
But you got 2 walls on each side that are pedestrian now, right? But now, it sounds like what they're leaning towards is 2 wall signs on each end. Is a blade sign redundant then?
I don't know, it gives it scale too, though, from a pedestrian stand. Like, so the sign on the back is from farther away, right? If you're up, if you use a site plan, if you're up in the complex and you're, like back here, and you're walking forward, that, you see the back, you're not gonna see blade sign obviously, but if you're kind of already like walking street or sidewalk over here, you're gonna wanna, that blade sign does work. And it
But
does
you can't see
add-
it on here, Liz, if that's okay again. Sorry, on
There.
top of, yeah.
Stay up.
Go look at the trees.
So,
A lot of trees.
Julie Brock, DMA. I think a blade sign facing Seymour's is almost kind of critical for that monument stair head path as well. Like, you will be coming, if you're looking at the site plan, coming up from Heights Road, you're going through that galleyway of public space and public hanging out, and you will not be able to see any wall sign this way. You'll see the blade sign first. So I think
I
it's
disagree.
for,
Sort of, because
Sorry, I
you've got
disagree.
giant trees right
Yeah,
there
if
too.
this is your drawing and your rendering,
but
I disagree.
if you pull it though towards Heights Road,
No, because then you have the sign on the front of the building.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I still think a blade is still kind of critical for that.
I think we're not looking at it the right perspective. This is you know, the pedestrian's never gonna be flying over here looking at them. You're gonna, if you stood here, if you
You're
were
gonna see the sign on the
standing,
end of
if
the
you were
building, you know
standing,
exactly where you're going.
right, you'd see that blade sign.
I see the front sign too.
From here, but if you're walking down this way,
And that alley of trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still do think you will see that through those trees,
To me, it's not, like,
especially in the winter.
To you, it's
Yeah.
more the setting, it's
Yeah.
bringing, it's the interaction.
It's
Yeah.
dimension,
Right.
and it's, yeah.
I
it's-
think creating
Is
an
that
environment.
more playful? I agree.
I don't have issue with
I
that.
like the blade sign.
Me too.
I still have concerns with the size of the sign though, the height, a thing that's 28 inches high on a building that's, does anyone have the specs for the building?
This sign?
I don't know if that's the scale, like, I like you guys cut out, I like when it, how your logo and the Gregory's comes out, I think that adds a lot of character and dimension. But I don't like the size of that one, I prefer your smaller one, if that. I mean, technically you're limited to 20 inches here, and you guys have,
24.
yeah.
Might as well pull the chair up
So
there.
how do you guys all feel about that? Rebecca, you don't know, you have a signage opinion?
The one on the rendering, I can, once we, that one actually might be incorrect in scale, and I can.
This one?
Yeah, it might be. So if we want a smaller one, and John, if you can give me the exact dimensions of it, I can drop it on that rendering true to scale and size. I think we just dropped that in there without really knowing.
That was the C one.
Yeah, exactly. So I can redo that rendering.
I'm pro just the sign between the windows. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that the blade sign, I don't see any harm in it. So, I mean, it's not,
I do have one question on the
That's fine.
blade sign though. It shows it in red, like in the middle there. But then what's this detail like where there's brackets on this building? Is it one on each side of the bracket? Is it replacing a bracket? I'm a little confused by how it's being depicted.
That's a wood detail on the building.
I know
So
a bracket
we
is a
were-
wood detail, but how
Right.
is the blade sign?
We were gonna put a sign on each side, so we get
Mounted to the
a
bracket?
double-sided sign.
So it's just
You're mounting it to
two
the
single
bracket.
sign.
Right,
To the
yeah.
bracket? Yeah, I'm
There
not,
would be
I
a
don't like
bracket.
I don't,
I don't like
that,
Nope.
that aspect of the blade sign
Nope.
is a little worrisome.
So what would you recommend?
The bracket is, there's a conflict between the two elements.
Yeah.
And in addition, you have a light right below it, correct? Isn't that what the elevation is showing? You got a little
gooseneck.
a gooseneck right below it. It just seems like there's a lot of elements happening together. Like, I lose the bracket?
couldn't
I
we,
would, I'm sorry, go ahead.
sorry, couldn't we just approve the front and the back and then once if we feel like the blade sign is needed, once the project's really completed, then we can.
I think that's
Readdress
difficult.
it.
I think everyone's up for the blade sign. I think we're okay.
I'd be in
Today.
favor of the blade sign
I
if
don't
there
like
wasn't
where
a
it's
bracket
mounted.
there.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
like
the
where the
bracket-
bracket.
I think the mounting will be
I know.
difficult.
Okay.
I just
No,
don't
just
know.
the one.
But putting a blade sign on each side of the
No, I
bracket.
I think they're
In between.
all along
Yeah.
in each break of the window.
I could make,
Can it have
I could make a
thickness to it?
steel bracket that would basically be coming off of that diagonal with two 1-inch bars.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Like at different
Yeah,
heights.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
originally drew it, I think that
So
the
it would stick
developer
out,
preferred this.
it would stick out past the.
But basically, if this is the arm, if this is the bracket, I could have a 1-inch bar coming off of it.
Yeah.
And have it stand off. I know I'd have to send you a picture, obviously.
Yeah, maximum projection 40 inches.
I think the
Well, this is only a
projection-
7, this is only a square, a 7 square foot sign, so I don't
Yeah,
think that
but
would be a problem.
Maximum
40 inches.
projection from the facade
From
to
the
the
facade
edge
of
of
the
the
building.
blade is 40 inches.
I
So
don't
if
like
you
the
have
idea
a-
of that projection.
If you have 30 winch already for your sign itself,
These are really big
you're
blades.
limited to like a
Well,
9-inch away.
What would happen is we would have,
It's usually
we would be starting that corner right about there.
Okay.
So I think we'd be okay with the 40 inches.
That works geometrically, that's great.
We gotta put it there. Sorry, Joe, sorry, we gotta wrap up that final. So you're playing with some ideas for how to,
So basically, it's hard to see because the sign is blocking. I have 2 bars coming off of that.
Mhm.
okay.
and the sign would stay on the bars.
Okay.
But then that puts it, I think,
But
to
puts it
Ernie's
out-
point, out more
Way
than
too
40
far.
inches.
Yeah, but this is only, well,
No, but but how far off the
'Cause
wall
when it
would it
sits-
start then?
It would stick past the eaves, which to me is gonna look really
I mean, if we went that
Yeah.
route, I would almost prefer, I mean, maybe I'm arguing against myself, but just like a circular one with just the logo, kind of to your point, where it's less busy, just because if it's sticking that far out, then it's gonna look weird.
It's gonna look really
Okay?
weird.
Yeah.
If we just kept it like, it would overall take up much less square footage, it would just do like a, I don't know, an 18 or 24, like a 24-inch circle. So smaller overall, but just a circle with the logo inside, and that kind of looks better.
I think that would-
I like that, I like that.
If you're gonna go,
I think to Mr. Brown's point, you already have signage on both ends, so you just.
it would be a little bit more
of a front
discreet, but it
Yeah.
still kind of gives
entrance.
you,
It's more like an entrance directional sign.
if you could tell, maybe it's my face or whatnot, but I do like the logo stands out the most, and that's what people tend to remember and all that sort of stuff, so.
Yeah, I like that.
We were having a sidebar conversation, the sign is, the blade sign is too large anyway, so they had to be scaled down to 24 feet, so 24 inches, pardon me. So
Okay.
I think you're at a good spot, then, so 24-inch round,
Just the
would be a cool
logo,
logo, that'd be cool.
black with the white.
Yeah,
logo.
I like that.
I did have an idea or suggestion for the board. When I look at the blank elevation, the one on the back, interestingly enough, the construction lines that are shown on the drawing that are framing the sign almost suggest that there could be something happening in the panel below Gregory's sign. So can you flip to the correct,
The one that's aligned
the
with
one
the
that we're
window?
talking about? Thank you.
this one here?
Yeah, so you see on the top left drawing, those lines don't mean anything, they're just construction lines. But if they actually did mean something for the facade to be less of a blank, and maybe that's where there is any sort of treatment, lattice or whatever, just something that kind of connects the sign to the ground. The same way on the front, it's the window underneath. Is there any justification for any sort of, that's why I'm throwing it as an idea for discussion.
That's the building though.
Yeah, is there a trim, or is there anything that kind of recalls that
I think
line?
there is a trim piece that
There's
goes
a trim
down.
piece?
Yeah, it's
I can't quite
it's
tell.
behind the dashed line. It's a light.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's.
There is.
I think
yeah.
it's mimicking the trim of the,
Yeah, it is.
of the glass on the
Yeah.
other
Good.
side.
I
Yeah,
couldn't
it's
quite, I
there.
was not sure if there was or not a trim, so.
It looks like there is.
I agree.
Yeah, it's not like one big blank wall.
Right.
Good,
It's
good.
it's broken
It's got-
up.
That's what I was
It's
afraid of.
broken up,
Okay,
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Okay.
So recapping blade sign, I hope, maybe we can just administratively, but we need to see a new PDF of it, new mounting method, new brackets, and possibly a 24-inch round with just logo. So send a PDF if it's simple enough, and a self-explanatory for PDF, we can do an administrative approval, I'll just send to the board, FYI. If it's more complicated, we'll let you know, we'll come back on that. Let's go back to the wall signs though.
So you like the narrower band,
Yes.
as do I. So
Yeah,
I think
okay.
that's fine, then it's just a matter of the height. So it's the thing that's the difference really is the logo height, because the letters on both of them are, I think, smaller than the 20 inches, right?
Why can't you adjust the logo size, like, why can't the letters, you adjust the,
So when we've done it like logo and then the name, it just doesn't
okay,
look great.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this is what, like, we always keep coming back to this sort of lockup, and it's just typically how we do it, and it's just making sure we have enough height on the coffee to have it proportionally fit.
Could
So
you send us a new PDF of the smaller version in size in the rendering? Like accurately on the building?
Isn't that what that is?
Is that accurate to like, to this,
This
that accurate?
this is accurate.
Yeah.
Now, I know that the color rendering that you got
Is
is
not.
not accurate.
I can have that done tomorrow, though, just
Alright,
give me
yeah.
the scale
That's
size.
I mean, I like it, how it pops up again.
I like that.
I like this one too. It's bracketed, but it pops up. I don't know if it's the right size though.
Page 3.
Yes.
The one with the letters come up
Yes.
above the
Not
black.
that
Yes.
Yeah, the one with the letters come up above the black. is
I
better.
just like the 24
That one.
That one,
inch.
yeah, couldn't you do the 24 inch, yeah, that's it, 24 inch with,
No, so there's one.
Yeah, I mean, just, it's a matter of having that extending beyond the black. we've done that in other locations, and it looks good, so.
So the letters there are 18 inches for this? And
Letters
the,
here are 18, yep.
the logo is a little bit larger, but that's where you have the ARB latitude, if you think that's appropriate, take proportion.
I think it looks right.
I did ask Jeremy about logo, and he said that's kind of letters versus logo. It's a
I mean,
little-
I think it looks right.
This one,
Okay.
this one.
Yeah.
Can you put it on like too? Looks
Mhm.
in scale.
Yeah.
It's just almost 29 inches. That's big, like that's.
The whole sign.
That's very
But you know,
big.
so like to me, I don't see it as like the black part is the sign. I see the letters and the logo as the sign, and the black is just the background that it's mounted on, because the building is dark, right? So it's not like it's, it gotta be in your face, right?
Yeah.
It's, the white's the part that's gonna pop.
I like it the way it is.
Yeah.
So the letters are just cutouts, they don't have any lights, no edge lighting,
No, these
They're
are
reverse
these are
channel.
reverse channel LED letters.
so they.
They're gonna give you a
shape
halo
the back.
light.
Okay, so halo light, okay.
Okay.
Will there be any issue with it projecting past the backing then?
No, because that background is only 2 inches.
Okay.
And it's dark.
It's on a dark building.
Just wanted to ask a
But
question.
going back to number 3, I'm gonna get real, sorry. One of these on the front, showing the front one above the windows, it shows you lining up with the trim above, right? The base of the sign hits the trim, and it almost goes over the louvers above. But then on the opposite wall, it doesn't fit, like it hangs down a bit. It hangs, like there's more space between the louvers.
I don't think those louvers on this drawing are accurate. I think they were moved
I don't
up.
think it's, I don't think, so what is the?
What's the accurate one?
What
The
is the
rendering doesn't
height?
even have louvers.
Right, and what's the height of the actual
So
band that you're on?
what's the height from the ground to the underside of the sign? And is it the same on both ends of the building? And that's-
It is the same,
Right.
it is the same on both
It is,
ends
it's
of
just
the
not, it's not illustrated that way, right?
Yeah.
It looks like the one on the back is
The
slightly
louver-
lower than
louver
the
is
band.
different. The louver is different from one to the other.
Yeah, it would be on that band that goes across the
That's the
building.
And
intent.
do you have the size of that band? That's what's frustrating me. I don't see the actual measurements of that band. That would be helpful to know those
We
details.
could just, because we're now gonna project beyond, we can match the black to align perfectly to the band. There's
Okay.
gonna be a little bit of projection, it might be slightly different,
Smart.
but we'll make sure that it fits within the band.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that band is 26, because they asked me to make it 26 to fit in the band,
Okay.
but I will check that.
So yeah, this is 20, this is a little bigger, so we would just make it match.
Well, yeah, but this background is 26.
Ah, okay,
We're
okay.
coming over the top of it a little bit.
So we'll just make sure, we'll confirm the band, and then we'll redo the 24-inch circle logo.
And I'll give you the distance from the ground. Is that-
Yeah, no, I mean, as long as if you're saying you're mounting it on the band, then
Yeah.
it's. you
As
don't
long as
need
it's
to-
same, front and
Yeah,
back, mounted the
exactly.
same,
Right.
right, it's consistent.
You don't.
So we're selecting
Well, that's what
version,
we're saying, that if we keep the black as
Page three.
Page
26.
on the
It's not-
consent.
And then that's what's going to
It's not really labeled version 3. but-
On your, Dave, do you have something to add?
happen. No, we're just clarifying.
Yes, I was clarifying
Okay.
details. I'm good.
That's good. So version number 3, the 24 square foot, it's a 28-inch logo. I don't know, I want to go on the record for saying I'm really actually very uncomfortable with that. I just think that's going to be very massive for a very small jewel building.
That's good.
But, okay, as long, I'm okay, the 4 goes in, but I have to go on the record saying I don't think I'm comfortable with that. But, okay, the 28.5-inch logo and 18-inch
So do you
letters.
wanna wait until you get another rendering with it set in scale?
Do you guys want to see another one? I seem to be the only one that's concerned about the size of that.
I
I mean,
would like
if,
to- I would
I'm
like
going
to-
off of this, and if this is accurate and to scale, I don't need to
Yeah,
see it
if
this way, but if that is correct.
Okay.
that
Can you guys
gives me-
provide a final PDF with the exact measurements of the building and how those relate to that?
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely.
I think we'll feel.
And I will still do a rendering.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
I'll
you.
update that.
Okay.
You
Okay,
just have to
and I'll
send
send you the
file.
new blade sign in the detail,
Great,
and the dimension off the wall.
okay. So you guys can send us those as PDFs, and I'll send them around the board. If they're clear enough and everything looks as like what we're discussing here going forward, then we'll do administrative approval with Hervé. And if there's any questions, we'll have you back. And I think we've gotten, I know it's hard for you to come here, Greg, I appreciate you making the time. But if it's hard to come back, I think hopefully we've got enough, we know where
Just Route 95.
your goals, okay. Okay.
Put me on Putnam Road to bypass, so wow, it's taking forever to get over here.
Okay.
Um,
All right, well, we love coffee. I'm really excited about the coffee
Yeah,
place
yeah.
beside town.
Yeah.
Building looks good.
Can't wait.
What's that?
The building looks good.
Yeah,
The windows look great.
You know,
Oh, the
actually,
mirror- the
worth
mirror
noting, thank you. Speaking of the building look good, I know this is not part of the discussion, but I'd like to talk about your windows. We worked with Julie and Federal Realty on picking the type of glazing for the windows.
Yeah.
And the board was kind of split other way, you know, between the frosted, the mirrored, and the black, the darker frosted. And they are gonna go with the mirrored version, and a speckled, more kind of speckled version that looks kind of like a weathered mirror version. And we thought, after the black windows came in, we thought that would be a better contrast to have a mirrored versus the darker black frosted.
The black had a white was about.
The white, yeah. So that's where we landed, just an update to everyone. I think you guys knew that.
Yeah, yes, thank you.
Okay, but I think the board didn't hear, I would hear that on record, that
Okay.
that's where we landed.
Great. Thank you so much. All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you. All right, new business, ARB number 50, 2022. This is Choice Pet, also in Federal Realty at 76 Heights Road. Hi.
Good evening. I'm Larry Bork with ABC Sign Corporation, representing Choice Pet. We're proposing a channel letter sign over the front entrance. It'll be halo lit. That means the LED light will be coming out of the back of the channel letters that are set a little distance from the wall, so you get a nice halo lit there. So we call it a reverse channel letter also.
Reverse channel letters, not, when I hear channel lit, I feel like.
Reverse channel letter. The regular channel letter has the light coming out of the front,
Okay,
but
reverse.
in the commons, it'll be halo lit. And also a blade sign for Choice Pet that is non-illuminated.
Larry, it seems pretty straightforward, but I have a quick question. I wasn't all clear about the actual material of the letters. Are they all acrylic, the blade sign, or is there
The
hardwood?
channel letters themselves are 040 aluminum,
Okay,
and then we paint the sides of these channel letters this PMS 361 green. And the blade sign too will be in that same color. And then the front of the channel letters would just be opaque white plastic. There's no light coming out of the front. That's about it.
the material of the blade sign as well as aluminum?
Yes,
Aluminum.
right, aluminum, blade sign and aluminum tubes coming off the wall
Okay.
for the brackets.
And that's the only place that the green is on the blade side.
Green is on the sides, right,
Yeah.
On the
Well, it's
on the edges, on the outside
It's
edges.
7-inch,
Oh, it is
7-inch
Yeah, so you can
letters.
see sort of the
Yes,
green
yes,
line.
okay, now I'm gonna study it between 9-inch head and a 7-inch letter, so.
Do you think that's too small, or do you?
Well, where it's located though, it's in the band over the door. It seems like-
Yeah, that band is only a little over 8 inches.
Yeah.
No, it's,
It seems fine.
Yeah, but I think they'll have good visibility.
yeah.
And plus, they have the blade sign for walking traffic, they'll be able to see it from either direction to know that the pet store is right down there.
I agree. I think so.
The blade sign is not lit,
Not lit.
okay? I'm just putting that, make sure for the record, okay? Any signage on the actual windows or doors is not depicted here that you know of?
They have not proposed anything on the windows or doors. They may have hours, of operation and that type of stuff, but I haven't seen anything from our salesperson indicating any graphics yet on the windows.
Okay, so we're gonna approve it without that, saying that they're blank windows. If they do have something they're gonna put on the windows, they need to send it back through us.
Correct.
Okay.
Not for hours, though.
They can do hours, they
Right.
can do the logo,
Mhm.
business name,
Yeah.
10%.
up to
10% of the
10%.
windows,
10% of
right,
the windows.
yeah. Any other commercial graphic, we'll come back to you for that.
depending what, in that kind of pet store, are there animals in the front, pets in the front, so therefore the lower portion would be, sometimes you see like a frosting or something in the very bottom.
That's right,
part.
but they haven't proposed anything like that
Okay.
here.
So they
A
really-
couple of their other
I don't
stores
know
they
if
have,
it's-
yeah.
Choice Pet from I know doesn't have it.
Right,
Okay.
yes.
Live pets, do they? They don't have live pets.
No life.
No, no live pets.
Oh, okay.
Anything, guys? All right, lovely. Larry, record setting. Thank you. We'll get you a letter, give your clients the okay. It takes a couple days for the letter to get out, get the mail, so tell your clients that they did get a favorable report.
Oh, that'll give me time to prepare for P&Z. Thank you very much, folks.
All right. The next new business item and final new business item is ARB number 52. We've got Warby Parker again at 122 Heights Road, also in the Federal Realty Commons area. Now, we've seen Warby Parker once or twice before talking about, changing the facade, with different colors. They decided not to move forward with that. So they're keeping their facade as is, although Warby Parker does have the one unique facade in the entire building, which is that blue, that special blue material we got. Hi.
Good evening. I am Eric Merlis, that's M-E-R-L-I-S-S, with Arnco Sign Company. We're out of Wallingford, Connecticut, and we've done a couple of these Warby Parkers already, I believe in New Haven, and there's a few other locations we've done, or in the process of. So we're very familiar with the fabrication of these letters, and Warby Parker as a whole. They do a very nice project, as the one in downtown New Haven on Yale campus. It's added a lot to Yale campus, which says a lot, obviously for Darien as well, saying Yale campus and Darien.
Welcome.
So a lot of this is from listening to the previous gentleman who was just up here about is exactly the same as far as the reverse / halo lit channel letters above the storefront. They do not have the light come out of the front, they halo lit on the back. And the blade sign is non-illuminated. Like I said, everything's pretty much almost exactly what you just heard. The only difference with this site is they're proposing the eye exams box to go in the actual window and to be illuminated.
So it's
Let's talk
set
about
to the
that.
interior, that was, my one.
Correct, to be as if you were looking at it like right here, inside of this window, not outside, as opposed to being an exterior signage.
I'll keep this simple and say that's gotta go. Thank you for your proposal, though. Also, while we're on it, the reference desk. Do you guys need that? I don't know if that's more for like atmosphere. It seems a little silly. I'm gonna walk in and ask for a drink at that desk.
Yeah, I mean, they did it in the New Haven store, but it's,
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, do you need, like, reference it? What am I referencing? Am I referencing like the martini I should buy, or am I referencing the kind?
I think more of the brand.
Yes, so-
Is it? Okay, that's what I'm wondering. Okay.
Yeah, so they their shops are supposed to be like a library, but instead of being books, they're the glasses,
Yeah.
and so then that references this idea of like that you're in a library,
That
right?
makes sense.
So it's part of the ambiance
Yeah.
setup.
The branding.
It's the branding.
Okay, that's what I want. Is that lit or just a sign as well?
I mean, it is on the inside of the store. It's not, as far as I can see, it's not visible from the outside. It is, yes, it is illuminated.
Set back into
It's set far
the-
enough back
Yeah.
that it avoids
Is
the
it deep?
regulations, is that
It's
correct?
gotta be over 3 feet, and then I think we've talked here, we've put on some limitations of illuminations and the timing for,
Right, so just the same as some other store,
okay?
that would, of my,
Yeah.
Of me, yeah.
Well, and, you know,
we would prefer a softer glow, which is something in the range of 3,000 Kelvin instead of like upper echelon, like solid core 6. And also make sure that it's operated with the business so that when the business closes, the light turn off. But the eye exam one doesn't work with the regulation.
Right.
okay.
Yeah,
If they move that behind 3 feet, will that work? Because I know that that's a huge brand, that eye exam light is a huge branding thing for them.
Does it have to be illuminated?
Yeah.
So I'll tell you the
no, we
exact
can
quote
say-
of the regulation. Exposed neon tube, exposed light bulbs, or exposed light emitting diodes, LED, are not permitted unless expressly given a positive recommendation by the architectural review board.
I don't know if that,
So that's not, that
exposed-
would be
That's for
exposed.
internal illumination of all.
this is a light box.
Yeah, but it has push
Well,
through
it's
letters on
really
it.
light.
Yeah,
So, going back, does it have to be illuminated?
that
I
we
mean,
can
if they're,
question, right.
if they're proposing that they do eye exams, why does it have to be showing it? You know? There are lots of eye,
If it's tiny little letter, maybe you're already passing the
Or
test.
could it be applied to the
I would not
glass
be
as
bad.
a
Yeah,
LED color or something?
As a
Yeah,
constant sign, to
yeah,
have just a vinyl sign or something like that instead.
yeah.
I think they were trying to match and duplicate the reference desk, kind of that feel.
But you could still design
still
it that way and
design,
it's just not illuminated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you guys support the eye exam sign in the same,
Yeah,
same design as long as it's not illuminated?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, and you're okay with the reference desk being illuminated as long as the Kelvin's limited to 3,000 and it's limited to business hours?
And it's 3 feet in.
Well,
Or it's
yeah,
just
it's
right
right,
at
yeah.
three.
Wait, wait,
Yeah,
On the
it's
plan,
right
it's
here.
like-
It's in the
I
middle
would
of
also
this.
be,
It's
just
right here. Oh, this is,
How far ahead, that's not way in.
well, but it's
And it's-
2/3 of the way into the store.
I could also be convinced on the eye exams if it was limited only during business hours.
Well, then define
Both
business
illuminated.
hours.
But
Because in the
only-
winter time, it's dark at 4.
Right, so that's just it, so that you would see the eye exams lit up at 3,000 Kelvin at, 4 PM, but otherwise, I mean, I'm assuming they'll probably close at 7, 8 PM, 6, 7 PM. So you're talking about a really narrow period of time that you're gonna see that, but you'll see the Warby Parker.
It's right off the window though, that's a concern, it's not, it's double off our regulations, right? It's not even 3 feet back, that was the difference. I mean, if it was
Got it.
off the back, I feel like
If it's 3 feet
there's an
back,
argument to be
then
made if they had fully,
Mhm.
if it had been
We can
digested
request
back.
So right now, the only lit sign, and it's a neon, but it's the only one that's allowed in town is open, and it's not even allowed to flash. So that's, the only one you can have in a window is open. I mean, I know there's a lot of
Okay.
liquor store that I have to go visit because they have additional signs. I know I'm gonna be very popular, I will never get a free beer anymore. But there are Michelob signs and other signs that are a little too close, and in the windows that we'll have to explain. It's part of the marketing, it's gonna be a tricky discussion, but yeah, technically according to the code.
Okay,
So if it was suspended from the ceiling similar to the reference sign and set 3 feet back, then
It's
Then
within
you'd
right.
be
it
okay.
would be.
Yeah.
Right.
No, the right says it is, cannot be seen, 3 feet back and cannot be seen by public viewing. So we are making an exception for the reference sign for these guys. I hope you guys, we are making,
got it.
Oh,
We already
except
have
to our
one.
regulations.
Got it, all right.
allowing it to, right, so everyone will come, I mean, will now come and say, okay, I want to do my glow thing 3 feet back. I mean, that will be
Right.
the
So-
new standard.
Why not, instead of reference, it says eye exams? Like just put eye exams over the reference desk? I don't know. Just
If
throwing
they're-
out
if-
ideas.
If they're smart enough, they'll know how to light it, so it might give a glow even though it's not lit.
Like from.
That's
Mr.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Indirect.
Additional lighting,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
Just throwing it out there.
that's a really good point.
Yeah.
So-
It's not this like in your face thing.
I think we're recapping where we are, at least on these two. Okay, so the front sign, the actual front wall sign seems approved as is, right? Colors, style, channel lit, reverse channel lit letters. The reference desk sign, sounds like you are getting a special favorable report to include that, but only because it's 3 feet back in the building and it's gonna be limited to 3,000 Kelvin or less and only lit during business hours. The board is saying they support the eye exam sign remaining where it is, but cannot be lit.
Yeah. Okay.
Internally.
Cannot be internally, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. How's that sound?
And the blade sign is approved as well.
Yes, good point, there's another sign on there, item. Blade sign looks good, and the blade sign is not lit?
Correct.
Great.
So the eye exam will be in the window?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's inside.
Inside but hanging?
Yep.
Not only
No.
internally.
Right.
White pearl, that's good.
Right.
Pretty.
They've been a little clever with that.
Okay.
Just a little light.
All right, sound good?
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you. So I will get you a letter that says a favorable report with some amendments to it.
Thank you.
Cool, thanks for your time. All right, we are going to, I'm gonna change around the schedule a little bit. We're gonna go to the latest agenda I have. We're going to skip, we're gonna go down to other business and talking about informal discussion on 2 items tonight. First of all, Bank of America in the Corbin District, it's gonna be the first one. And then a second one talking about some possible discussion of Palmer's facade changes, maybe. So.
Hi, I'm Kate Perez from Baywater. It's so nice to be here in person and not worry about like technical issues. This is wonderful.
Right.
I actually, so thank you for having us for this informal discussion on relatively late notice. I know you got a packet of information just now and that it wasn't in the mail out. I'm actually going to hand around a few extra images that I took last night. We're talking about night lighting, exterior lighting for the Bank of America. So I just have some reference images to give you a little bit more information.
Kate, Ms. Perez, can I set this up too? We've approved Bank of America, we have approved the signage, the building, the lighting. We've all approved, so this is an amendment in addition to what we already approved. They're asking for something more in this
Yes,
situation.
exactly. So you've seen their signage a few times. It's relatively straightforward, 2 wall signs, and they have a single blade sign. And that's actually in the package that Hervé had handed out on page 4 and 5. So that has the most recently approved wall sign, just for reference. And this is the building closest to the post road and the tenant that's actually facing the post road. So in discussions with Bank of America, they are requesting an amendment to their exterior lighting. They have some internal bank standards. They closely mirror the New York State bank lighting regulations. And so where possible, they like to employ this lighting bank standard. And basically what that bank standard is a foot candle, like a number of sort of foot candle requirements. So just kind of walking through this package, you see on page 4 and 5, the approved Bank of America signage. On pages 6 and 7, you see the facade facing the Boston Post Road and the facade facing Corbin Drive. And what these 2 pages represent is the lighting that was already approved as part of the Corbin project. So you see some sort of dark black lines showing the coach lamp, typical street light. There's one taller pole road light on the post road exposure. And then turning to Corbin Drive, you have the same pedestrian height coach lamp lights. The second layer of lighting is some gas-fired lanterns that are attached to the facades, which is very similar to what you see on 1020 Post or the renovated theater building. It's that sort of smaller scale. You know, candidly, they don't give off a ton of light, but they're lovely, you know, from a pedestrian standpoint. So that sort of shows you where we are today before the additional lighting that Bank of America is proposing. Page 8 and 9 are actually from the 2018 zoning approval, and those reflect the same approach of we're really relying on the coach lamp lights to do the sidewalk lighting. And the gas lanterns actually aren't represented there because, again, they don't do a lot of lighting work. They don't have a broad reach. Page 10 and 11 get into the Bank of America proposal. So this is something that was put together by a third-party consultant that Bank of America retains to help bring through their lighting standards on, the projects that they do nationally. So there's a lot of detail in here and a lot of lighting designations of different fixture types, but I tried to kind of keep it simple. And if you flip to page 12 and 13, there are blue marks on the facades basically where they're proposing new light fixtures. So it's a number of like what we call wall packs. They're wall mounted, attached, and they're bright. They're intended to do some serious lighting of the sidewalks. So on Bank of America there are 3, 6, 9, 10. There are 10 wall packs. Some at a higher level, so kind of having a broader lighting reach, and some right in the cornice band where their signage is. And then on Corbin Drive, we have 8 additional wall packs. If you turn to the next page, on page 14, it's a lighting schedule, again, very detailed. And on page 15, it shows you pictures of the fixtures they're proposing, which are, these, one has an arm and is intended to have sort of a broad reach, and the other one is surface mounted, but it projects off of the building by about 12 inches. So it's, they're somewhere between 12 and 18 inch. They're relatively large fixtures. So, we bring this to you today with, with the sentiment of Bank of America, who would really, they're looking at this from a standpoint of, we really want this to be a safely lit place. We want there to be relatively high lighting levels. We're a little bit conflicted on this, candidly, and I think their standards apply and are maybe intended for more isolated locations where it's a new building, solely Bank of America, in the middle of a dark parking lot, in which case this becomes a lot more important when there aren't street lamps or sidewalk lights, coach lamp lights, surrounding tenants with lights spilling out onto the road. So it's a little bit tricky to have a national standard for lighting. And we're putting this forward to get your candid thoughts. And actually, Hervé, could I borrow Oh no, you don't. I have one here. So you're all familiar with the 1120 Boston Post Road, Bank of America.
Yeah, I'm very curious how they added these lights on. I don't remember this. I'd like to talk to Bank of America how they illegally threw in these lights on here that were never approved. So if Bank of America's looking for some favors, they've come to the wrong place.
Yeah, and you know what? It's hard to get a picture of like these arm lights. These are actually they have some sort of an arm, but they're so bright that you can't really capture them. But you can see their entrance and ATM area. They like to be in the like 10 and up foot candle range. And that's quite high for a pedestrian sidewalk. I think a typical pedestrian sidewalk is like 0.3 or 0.5 foot candles up to 2 or 3 foot candles. So it's quite a bit brighter. And then this is a Bank of America in Glenbrook that it's also sort of
the light, pretty much the light that you showed.
Yeah.
Are these the pictures they're talking about putting on?
Yes, they're similar. I don't know, to be honest, if it's the same maker, but I think from like a light level perspective, it's what they're.
I gotta tell you, this thing is so bright that you go from the back of Glenbrook all the way back to the fence, which is probably, if a car length is 20, I bet it's close to 80 feet to the fence. and then the house behind is another 25, the whole back of the houses on that thing are illuminated.
Yes, I saw that
And
last
then
night.
you got the apartment building, you got the apartment building next door. I'm like,
Yeah.
how does anybody sleep there?
Yeah.
And they don't turn them off.
No, it's on all night long.
I think light pollution is one of like my passions. I'm like safe with that. So with that in mind, this is not some like backwoods little bank. This is materially more lighting than some of the little banks that we have around town that are more tucked in. And you have ambient light from multiple restaurants. This is going to be a very well visited, well traversed, well lit area. This is a complete non-starter for me.
Yeah,
I mean, look at the front of 1020.
I was just looking
Yeah.
to see, I guess my thought is you've created such, like a historically sort of, buildings to try to fit into a town that's got colonial, Connecticut. And, where, and what I was looking at on my phone is, where have they put Bank of Americas in historical, towns or historical districts? Because this can't be standard. Like, it just isn't.
Yeah,
Right?
I think
So it's like, I was just looking, do they have one in Charleston? Do they have one in, like, where else do they have them? Or even California, I mean, there's no way that this would be allowed in.
Just down the street is First County Bank. I mean,
But I'm just saying, if it's a corporate standard, like, right, like if it's not.
Well, this is sort of an infill in a walkable downtown. The examples that they're using are standalone, surrounded by parking, isolated buildings. Very, very, very different building types.
Yeah.
And far back from the road.
And to me, being on the corner, which is highly traversed with traffic, there's gonna be a lot of visibility on people walking and experiencing that corner of the street.
Not only that, but they're not even putting it just in their space, they're putting it on other parts of the building.
I mean, they're blasting this building.
Yeah, above the ground, right, exactly.
I'm not in
Second floor is not
favor
even
at
as
all
ordered with zoning.
of it.
Yeah, and the last reference images we have that you had mentioned, Rebecca, is this is sort of the downtown streetscape just in front of one spot, 1020, and it's a little bit unfair because the Christmas decorations just went up and it looks
It's very well lit.
Yeah, but
but the amount of light you're seeing in that picture compared to the one over in Glenbrook, the one in Glenbrook is just outrageously bright.
It's very bright, yeah.
There has to be, one in Charleston or in, that you guys could reference, I'm just like naming historical, or Newport, Rhode Island, like, where is there a historic town where they have an existing Bank of America, and what have they done for
In an
Bank of
urban
America?
environment.
In an urban environment, like, right, where there is a historical zone or historical district.
Or Nantucket.
What?
Nantucket.
But
Nantucket's
moreover,
not
we
one.
thoughtfully put together a lighting scheme for this building, and we looked at this, and for whatever tenant would be there, that would be appropriate for this area. So there's no need to revisit this, I think.
And if it's an issue of safety, there's a lot of technology out there that can be used to cameras and other contraptions that you can put discreetly on the building if it's a safety issue.
Yeah, and I think there, they sort of say, lighting standards, here apply them to as many banks as we can. And this also happens to be a location that I think, in terms of their 1120 existing bank location, that they really haven't had issues and it's a very safe location. It's a safe downtown without a lot of crime, so I think that, I don't think that, we're happy to pass along the sentiment. and it might be that they, in the future, down the line, after everything is installed, may want to come back with a more discreet lighting suggestion of, one fixture over their entry door or something like that. I'm not sure how they'll want to sort of handle the go forward in the future, but it might be something they want to revisit depending on how everything looks once it's all installed and the light posts are in and they can kind of see and we can get the look and feel of it, so.
Okay, we're happy to revisit anytime with them.
Okay.
But please share our sentiments of how this was received,
Yeah.
which was very, very poorly. Thank you for
No,
your time.
I appreciate it. We gave them a heads up and, you know, we want the project to be something that you're proud of and we're proud of and everybody loves. And, you know, there's a tenant coordination aspect to it and they want it to look amazing too. And so if they, you know, if they have further concerns, we'll ask them to come back.
Yeah, I mean, they don't necessarily want a flying saucers landing in the middle of Darien.
Yes.
Like that amount of lighting
Yes.
would totally.
Yes,
keep
no,
a flying
and
saucer.
appreciate your feedback. We don't want like there to be any surprises as these buildings go up and appreciate your feedback always.
Welcome
Thank
back
you.
today, Erica.
Thank you. It's nice to be back.
All right, next up, we have one other formal discussion. We gotta keep this quicker, guys.
Okay, so
I know, David Stowe, you good?
I'll be quick.
Good, I'm gonna give you 5 minutes.
That's one.
Great. It's like pulling teeth trying to figure out what this address is from you, so please, you gotta tell us which one.
Well, it's 264 Heights Road is their
Yes.
address, but we're
Okay.
talking about the building that's facing Edgerton, like the back of the building is on Edgerton
The
Road.
back of Palmer's, right?
Yeah.
There used to be a car place there or something, like a
That I'm not aware of.
Green light, yeah.
green, right, yeah, we saw it at one time.
Yeah, they were in front of us.
Thank you. Yeah,
Are they still there? No.
I don't know.
I see their cars.
There are,
They're driving around.
they're driving around, some cars are going through some.
okay, this is heavy.
Okay, so, what do you got?
Well, printers also.
Yeah,
besides for being sign company, so- So Palmer's wanted to explore, the backside of their building is kind of run down and dated and old.
Can you introduce yourself?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm David Stowe from Alpha Graphics in Stamford on behalf of the Palmer's Marketing.
Okay, great.
So they wanted two things. I had actually reached out to Irving and he said I should probably bring up the fact that they want to paint the back of the building as well.
Okay.
So the building is dated and old. It's kind of run down in appearance, and they also have a brand new residential development basically across the street on Edgerton.
Yep.
So they've also asked, Cindy Palmer told me that the developers that were putting that up asked them if they can do something to improve the appearance of the building.
So Palmer's is concerned with the appearance of the building in the back, but not the giant light in front that's about
That I have no idea.
1
about
acre.
that.
I just want to make sure for the record that this is where Palmer's concern is.
Well, I
Please
think
relay
that,
this question to Palmer's for me, that this is of the biggest concern.
that's why, I'm not even aware of.
Okay.
He's looking at one side, he's only looking at one
Yeah,
side.
okay, all right.
So,
One
We'll
side at a time.
we'll stay on this for now.
I know, honestly, I know nothing.
Make a left or a right, so I go straight.
Right.
So the first page just shows an aerial view showing the frontage, the back of the building facing onto Edgerton. And what they're looking to do is two things. They want to paint the back of the building, a solid green, which is shown on the fourth page there. And aside from that, they want to put up a building sign that, I'm sorry?
It's on the window, it's like blends in the background.
Oh,
Yeah, it's so
Just in shadow.
Yeah, like the first couple pages show the building the way it is now. It's that beige, old color. They just want to paint the whole building a solid green, somewhat like the shade shown in that picture.
Do we know what color that's going to be?
I could certainly.
Army green right now.
I'm muddy green, I love a muddy green, I just.
I mean, I could get you I could ask them. I can call them tomorrow and ask them to tell me the exact color swatch.
Just because it's so much and so big, I'd
Right.
love to know just the color.
I think it's
But
a
in
big
context to
discussion.
the rest of the building, like,
Yeah.
we're just seeing this one,
Yes, so
like, piece.
what happens when it turns the corner?
Exactly,
Yeah.
so, like,
Well, I think they're going to do the whole back of the building.
no,
That's
but
their
like,
purpose.
how does it relate to this other sides of the building?
The front and the side.
Right, like, show us, how does that, what does
Okay.
that whole picture look like?
I think it's stuff.
Sure. It's also disconnected from the front of the building because if you look at the.
So, David, you're trying to get ideas of what a proposal would look like.
Yes.
You don't want, David wasn't to come here and waste time, so he wants to
Yeah,
see what we would look for.
Yeah, what's your-
would be
what-
helpful.
what-
Like, what are we-
what's your
This is a
allowance?
proposal, this is us giving him help to like. what
Yes,
we-
they wanted me to come and get some input from you to what would be permissible both for painting the back of the building and then for putting a signage up on the back of the building.
Personally, I don't think the idea of highlighting the back of the building when the back of the building looks like the way it is currently
Yeah, it's a great
is such a great idea. Like the fence, the trash cans,
Well, so that fence is, I think they're replacing that fence with all new fencing
So Rebecca, there's a.
in place where it is.
So that would be part of the application.
Spray painted.
Surround.
And they're gonna paint, and they wanna paint the fence the same exact color that they paint the building?
So they clean the whole thing
So
up.
that would be part of the application, knowing that whole thing, if they're gonna put in a new fence. Is there new shielding anywhere else around there? Like what those colors, what those materials would be?
Okay.
That starts and stuff, right?
Sure.
That it wouldn't just be
I
the,
would, I mean, I seriously want to see what does it look like beyond here, like,
Mhm.
and around the corner, like,
Yeah,
even
like
though you're not.
stitch together some photos. to-
Yeah, even
show
if
the
you're not
full
touching the other sides.
Well, I think what it is there's a right angle that comes out that is there are other businesses there that are attached to that building. So the front of the building there is completely disjointed from, the back of the building, which we're talking about, is completely disjointed from the front. You'd have to drive around the block you'd have to drive off of Edgerton onto Heights and then into their front
I think
parking
what
lot.
we're asking is to show us what it looks like.
Yeah, sure.
And I just don't even understand how they decided that this was the color, because it's not their branding color, right? Like, it's just,
green, that's what I mean.
Yeah, they have green in their
No,
brand.
not army green.
it's not army green.
Oh, yeah, it might just be the printer, but yeah, that mean.
Yeah, I mean,
But
they
actively have the.
They gave me that,
right.
they gave me that image with the green put on there, so I'm sure they're open to, amenable to other greens that somebody might like or approve or think is more consistent with their brand or the
And
neighborhood.
they're only talking about the 140-foot section?
Yeah.
Well, that 104, that linear footage on the back of the building there is everything that's everything that's part of their building. They're painting everything that's part of
There's
theirs.
no trim, as Alex said, there's nothing that is a direct stop of how the
Well,
released.
no, actually, there is like a
140, yeah.
bump out, I don't know what that is, if that's
Like an old
HVAC
chimney.
or, yeah, chimney.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give them the feedback that you want to see continuation of what the rest
Yeah,
of the
like,
building around the side
exactly.
is.
But the building that's protruding from Palmer's towards Heights Road, where, adjacent to the post office,
Mhm.
that's not their building?
That whole thing is theirs, everything is.
I think they might own it, but it's other businesses, I guess, that I'm not familiar.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not sure.
okay, well then we need to see the whole thing.
Okay.
I think it's more so so Palmer's obviously wants to get an eye of people, this new development, they want to take
Right.
advantage of it.
Right.
If that's the case, then I'd like to see Palmer's actually put some thought into their outward appearance. I mean, this is to me a Band-Aid, this is them trying to get more visibility, but not really giving anything back here to the community. And really improve, this is an opportunity to really improve that side, and just throwing a sign there, for me, I don't know, I'm gonna be tough about this, that's a non-starter for me.
I also don't like it, I wouldn't.
It's nothing to
why
highlight.
It's nothing to
Yes,
highlight,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
You're putting a sign, it almost says entrance here.
Right.
You're putting
Yeah.
Palmer's Market, and then this is a back.
No one wants
back
to
wall.
highlight that side.
Also,
So
that's
if
in
they
the
were,
regulation.
if they were to.
It's outside the regulation, yes.
If they were to maybe introduce a direct connection, maybe invest some money towards that new development.
Yeah, putting some
Yeah.
sort of
Create a
staircase or
side
something.
entrance.
Yeah, I think they
Maybe
actually,
that would be.
Yeah,
That's good, that's good.
well, I think Cindy actually did mention, if you look on, I guess,
Aerial view.
on the right edge of the building there
there
is
is a
a
door.
corridor there that they were talking about actually using to allow people to come as a walkway into
So,
there.
I mean,
to
I'm
the front of the
sure
building.
Alexandra is with me already with this, but if you say, okay, this is maybe potentially, there's already an opening,
yeah.
and you have some sort of a canopy that
Yeah.
brings people to the side, and somehow you integrate your side,
Yep.
your sign and your facade to it, then it's completely different than spray painting it all green. So,
And-
which is
and
what this
slapping
looks
a sign.
like.
But is it also where
Yeah.
receivables go? Like, it's just,
Well, it could be split,
Right,
but
so
right
you
now they have.
You
right,
could
exactly.
break up sort of the pedestrian walkway.
Right, but they have to
and
show
make it
how that's
of
getting done,
course,
right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's-
Where does this entrance go in the building? Where would you?
Right
I
to the
don't know.
cereal aisle.
I think that their shipping and receiving is the left edge of that, there's like a garage you could see, and the right side is their
Why would you go
offices.
in
Right,
that way?
so, but it's a matter of spending money on reconfiguring what could be reconfigured, if
Right.
it can be done.
I think,
so.
there's a full back, there's deteriorating fence back here, it's all falling in, this chain link and all this country. There is actually a walkway that breaks
That's
into the
what
neighborhood.
I'm talking about on the right side, she mentioned that making a thoroughfare
Through that,
for
yeah.
people, right, for
I mean, that's
pedestrian.
that's a production, right? That's a much bigger than just what you guys talking about here. And what we're talking about is coming back with a full new entrance site proposal, like, facade restoration.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah, so
presenting anything like that.
please relay, this would be,
Yes,
it's a
sure.
facade restoration, it's not just a simple sign and painting that.
So, well, I guess basically
And some
the,
site work. And
Site-
some,
yeah,
and some
site-
site work.
so the sentiment, I guess, is you'd like to see more improvement of the back of the building aside from simply painting it
Oh,
with
yeah,
a sign on.
absolutely,
And
yeah.
a park that goes around.
Is it employee parking
Keep going.
back there?
That's, yeah.
So this is employee parking right now, so it's
Okay.
not really the public realm for people to come from the street, so it's just part of the, maybe
Right.
the rethinking of this entire site plan.
Right, but on the right side of the
Now that they
building
have
there,
exposure, they're really thinking site
Yeah.
plan.
And so they could lose some spots in theory to give to a much more gracious
Right.
pedestrian access point from the development
Yeah.
across the street.
right, well, I think the pedestrian access point would have to be down the right side of the building where
Yeah.
that fence line
But that's
is.
feasible.
Yeah, but you can make it nice.
Yes.
Well, they've got lots of construction going on, and that's not my, that's their purview, not mine, but I'm happy to relay any information you
Yeah,
want to convey.
Cindy's visionary, she has some ideas, she'd be great, at something like this.
Yeah.
I think she'd understand that, whether they have the money to do that, but
That, yeah.
throwing a sign on a back wall where there's no entrance, it sounds like the board, we're gonna say,
Yeah.
that's not, we're not gonna favor that, we're not gonna make a special accommodation for that.
So, just a quick question then, if they did other improvements, maybe making like a nice, attractive, like thorough, throughway on the right hand side of the building, would the ARB look at that back side of the building as the square footage that they would normally be allowed, like on a main sign on the front side of the building, because it's a completely different
We
side?
consider a sign on there if there are improvements into that.
And is
to
that-
a full new
is that-
pedestrian.
Is that maximum like a 48 square foot, is that what that is?
32.
Is it 32, or is it different for different
Well, it'd be-
classifications of area?
It's gonna be an exception.
You're getting
when you
exception
look at it.
anyway, so it's
Right.
gonna be an exception, whatever it is.
Okay.
You're right, it's 48 if it's in automobile district, but I don't know what that street, I think there's,
I don't think
that's
there's an
district.
egg, I don't wanna go there, I mean. It's
pretty
Yeah, I looked that up and it
Street.
was an
That's
automobile
what-
district, I
But
think.
there's a lot of, like, there is housing, like,
Sure,
there,
yeah,
so the
like
lighting would be
right there,
very,
yeah.
the signage would be limited,
But it's right too, it's right, looking into federal stuff.
yeah, but
The
the people
illumination's
there.
gonna compete.
Yeah, they're looking to do either a halo lit,
Mm-hmm.
which is doesn't throw off a ton of light, or like gooseneck lighting, which is
Mm-hmm.
kind of concentrated.
I think
there.
the sign is
It-
secondary to the side entrance.
Yeah, if they
Right.
develop that
Yeah.
side entrance, they're gonna have to properly
All right, so-
do that as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it sounds like the general sentiment is you're not inclined to kind of approve anything unless they put more thought into doing more site improvement on the back of the building,
Mm-hmm.
including a pedestrian throughway to the front of
If
the
it,
building.
if it works.
Right, right.
I'd also like to see some landscaping, something to soften this back here.
It's an investment into a new
Yes.
facade.
Right.
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 New
Site,
access.
not just the wall itself, but the site as
Yeah, yeah.
Zelensky's put it. And for the record, I think they'll be aware of this. We wrote a letter as a board, I signed my name on it, that we are not in support of how Palmer's has treated that site, that ownership. They've been a blight on the community for the last.
You talking about the whole redevelopment
That
on
way
the
they
front
have.
side?
So if they're gonna talk about doing any more signage, I'm gonna put on the table that they need to completely level that site and make it safe for public and for pedestrians around, and start with a grassy knoll, and then we can start talking about what's going back here.
Okay.
So you can relay that message. The
I'm
board-
just the messenger.
Yeah, absolutely. We've talked about this
You're still
significantly.
surviving right now. Nobody's killed you.
Yeah.
Hey, I just got out of political season, we do a ton of political work, so I'm good.
Yeah, so I mean, that goes the same idea though, like, if they're gonna be investing in that, then if they have the money to start investing in signs and getting more flashier, then the question is gonna be, why aren't you guys investing then in your overall property and that appearance, right?
Okay.
So,
I'm happy
propose
to-
that to Cindy. I think Cindy would like that,
Yeah,
but
but
I think there's a lot of,
Terrible.
I've heard she's amenable to that, but,
No, she's definitely a creative thinker.
yeah, I've heard she's lovely.
Yep.
Wonderful like that, so, we'd love to meet her, tell her to come, brainstorm with us.
I'll mention that.
Okay, good. All right,
All right, so I'll just leave it with her, I'll let them know right now that basically not inclined to approve anything that they want to do until other
No
additional
banding.
improvements are made.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly what you said, yes.
Thank you.
All good by me?
Some more, thank you, David, thanks for coming by.
Thank
Sure.
you. Thanks for clearing all this.
Yep, go ahead, you're good.
Okay.
Do we have approval on notes? Minutes? Minutes from last month? They are written so well by Mr. Riley. All in favor? Aye. Okay, no one opposed? Okay, and we've got one last piece of business that I would like to read a letter here. Can I steal this one? We have, what?
Graciously, I'm graciously.
I'll get it, I got it.
Oh, yeah. I want to read this on record before we close as our final sentiment, as our final piece of agenda item for the night. Marion Castell has retired from our board. She's attended now in our audience, which is an honor to have her one more time. She started the ARB. She was one of the founding members when it wasn't called that. I hope you guys probably all know that now.
Yeah.
We can discuss that, but I want to read her letter because I think it's important on record. I think it has a good call to action for our community to understand.
You already read it. Didn't I send it around?
You did. I'm going to read it on the record while we're on Channel 79. It's dated October 17th, 2022. It says, Dear Liz, the time has come for me to step down and say goodbye to the Architectural Review Board, ARB, that for 33 years has been central to my life. The ARB began in 1977 as a new idea of Darien Selectmen to give designing advice to builders of commercial buildings, and was called the Architectural Advisory Commission. It was made up of 3 people: Laurel Van Arsdale Guild, Mary Lewis North, and Marion Castell, to develop the goal of making good architecture integral to commercial design. It developed from that commission into being a full architectural review board in a few years. I left this commission in the 1980s and I rejoined it again in 1992 when it was a review board, and I've been a devoted, loyal ARB member up to today. I look back to my many years of my role in both advisory and review boards for design leadership of public and commercial buildings, and I feel as if ARB has become vital to Darien's future. I have a great deal of enthusiasm and respect for this current board, and particularly its accomplishments in these last few years of massive change. It has grown in importance and leadership in many new talented members. All of us should have pride in the ARB because of what it has done for the downtown. Its influences have spread out to the wider town. How we handle the commercial buildings, the colors, spacing, landscaping, and signage is a strong signal of how we see ourselves and ask others to follow. The ARB is the only tool that Darien has to create structural visual standards for commercial buildings, as well as to monitor and control them. The ARB is central to how all of us view ourselves and where we shop. The aesthetics effect of downtown also spreads standards to our homes and where we sleep. When buildings have a variety and beauty throughout Darien, signals of pride and history are created. These shout to all of us about who we are now and will be in the future. Darien has protected its environment of water, beaches, islands, trees, fields, stone walls, and architecture up to now. All these aspects have to be reinforced every day, as though significant pressure always will be with us and is only getting stronger. It is only through Darien's voluntary boards that we will understand these future changes and adapt them so these elements will always be treasured. Keep the volunteer boards strong, diverse, and adaptable so they will protect our visual structures as well as our environment. Best, Marion Castell, Darien Town Historian.
Very good of you to put in the record. I just didn't want to.
Absolutely.
Something. Listen to it again.
Yeah. Well, it is 8:27. I'm going to commence the meeting on, so I'm going to close the meeting for Channel 79, and I'd love to have our own private fun discussion and a good farewell to Marion, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So 79, are we off air? Thank you.